I have felt like Ed goes through life like it is a film, like it's a movie, and you're looking for interesting extras or individuals to play a role. And I've always felt like that was your artistic angle, if I may.
Oh, yeah?
But
I just realized that's pointing at
then I learned that there's a whole nother dimension to you as an artist. But before we get to the handsome gentleman behind you, I was wondering, how far off am I about that?
Way off.
Really?
Yeah. But the thing is, you know, when he said he didn't know who you were and you laughed and stuff like that, he doesn't know who I am either. How did we get this guy? Remember I was saying that?
Craigslist.
check his
Craigslist.
You remember I said this? Who did I say that about?
resume?
I said, why did we invite her? I think it was. And I said, you know,
I hadn't
look
cut
at
my
what
hair at
you're
that point.
saying and stuff like that. I wasn't ready. But it's easier to contradict you than to think right now. And I have to think about this. Well, let's put it this way. I don't really think about myself being in a movie since I was in the movie business, and I actually played a minister in a movie from PBS, and I didn't like it much because I had to preach to an empty, imaginary congregation. But the biggest problem for me is that I could see where all the lights and everything were, and I thought I was badly lit. Which is, think about it for a person.
Always a technical guy.
Like me, I hope I'm better lit. My point is that when you're technical, I don't know how to say you can drop it all. You were going to put this down. So I don't know how you actually can act like it's not around, but the geniuses in this world really do that. They completely can give shot. Although I don't know. That's just my way. So what I do is I try to act by my lights. You know, that's something that's a kind of a religious thing to say, is to act according to your lights, which is what do you learn and can you embrace it? And I've been trying to do that through 2 marriages and divorces and stuff like that, because I really wanted to live the person who was still yet alive. And people die in marriages and they die in jobs and they die left and right, as you know. And I didn't want to do that. But at some point I said, you know, there's a recent thing that is a new thing to me that's important. And it's called regenerative sense of well-being. And I feel like what that means is everything, even if we're talking and the show, everything that happens, you can add life, which is what I think we're talking about in your art.
Yeah.
And my sense of what Chuck Close does is that he doesn't even know. But if there's enough life in it, that's what really counts. Yeah. And so I feel in the regenerative sense that every moment offers you that. You can either live up to it or fail it. So this was only like yesterday. How am I doing?
That's a much more eloquent way of saying what I said.
No, but the point is that it was actually a few months ago now. And I try not to be crazy about it and bother other people with it, but it matters to me.
Right.
And I think it is close to art. And people say, what is your definition of art? He said, well, first of all, it has to be a certain amount of beauty. If it doesn't have enough beauty in it, you can't, you don't even want to be around. The second is it has to add life. If it detracts life, to me, it's not art, it's a perversion of art. And I think people will say bad art is art. I say, well, in a way it isn't. It really has to add life. And the third thing that I think of as mine is I do want things near you when they get them. I don't care about monumental art, I don't understand it, but I want, if this was in your house, to be comfortable.
Oh, interesting.
And so this was in the virtual golf place, and Ben, who wanted to buy it, said, you know, I'm already liking having it around after a few days. And the concept of it, you didn't yet ask, do you want to?
I would love to, please.
Thank you.
And did you, and also along with that, did you borrow it, or it's all known?
I said, well, since you haven't finally paid me for it, I'm taking it for the time being, and also maybe Basic Gallery is interesting.
Oh yeah, that's right. You mentioned that.
So I'm thinking I'm going to walk over and throw it through the front window and see if we can.
That's a technique.
See if he really appreciates it.
So all right.
Yeah. So the thing is that all my work is narrative, in the sense that my life goes ahead and my art comes with it. It isn't that I decide to be an artist and therefore make a bunch.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, so I did lots of things, but this one was when I was going to a museum, I think it was the Yale Museum, and it showed tomb guardians. from, I think it was China, but it could have been Indonesia at that point. And they show a warrior, ferocious warrior with a pig under the foot. It's in my catalog, but I could bring it. But it's so ferocious, they say it's important to save the dead from the evil spirits, right? And so that is my idea of a clear-cut respect your elders things that goes on over in the Far East that we didn't have.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what if we had them? You know, who would be our ferocious guardian, right? And so I said, the only person that I know who would actually be reliable to be there forever and never get tired and never get intimidated and scare anybody away was a made man from the mafia. So I said, okay. Now, the thing is that you can see, maybe you can't see, but there's actually, he's got a hidden gun. My point is that I wanted it to be with classical materials. It's part of my story saying, okay, in a series of sculptures. So the second one I made of a guardian was a woman looking up. And she's also a bronze, and she's standing there because I want to say some power isn't just light. Some power is spiritual power. And I believe that women have been better at that historically than men. Men have, here's the other thing. They grew up in caves, right? And fighting off whatever was out there to bring home the goodies. The women didn't do that as much because they weren't as strong. So in the DNA right now of men, they still want to raid and fight. They haven't been able to shed it, whereas people are planning to say, isn't it about time we shed the desire to kill? And that's what's going on right now. I want to be contemporary about it. So for me, I wanted to be sure that I didn't, just do a cheap shot and say, okay, he's a gangster and stuff. And it was in the gallery in my club, Salmagundi in New York, and there were a couple women who went up to the people who were running it saying, do we have to have a mafia guy by the front of my gallery? Really? Yeah, and they said, no, it's a tomb guardian, right? And they went, oh, okay.
Oh, our gallery's a tomb?
Anyhow, so on talks, as you know, I can just keep on going.
So it's called Gangster? Or?
No, it's called ambiguous friend of the family.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right? So that was the way. But it's informally the gang.
I love the subtlety of the piece. When I first saw it was in your apartment and I had walked past it originally, it was almost hidden a little bit in a way that was subtle. It's not in your face. It almost plays the part of the individual standing, keeping watch over the room without making a scene.
Well, you know that it's designed to lean against the tombstone. And I actually took a friend of mine, a good photographer, out to a cemetery, and we walked around with it and put it in front of a grave site to see if it worked. And it never really worked in the way I just thought it would be great. So.
Well, it's interesting also because, when it's not leaning up against anything, it kind of looks like it's a stride, like he's walking.
Like a little active.
Yeah.
Well, let me just add another thing. Then there was supposed to be a series. The next piece, which I finished in clay, and so long ago, and then moving, as you know, I bounce around, was of a Civil War drummer boy. Because to me, that was a spiritual commitment of a young man not knowing anything except what his parents and his family would let him do. And they were killed by the dozens because they were out there. And I love the idea of trying to do a series. And that's when partly why I ask you about can you be a painter and survive.
Yeah.
These are too expensive to do, and I'm not a well-known enough sculptor.
That's bronze and bronze.
Yeah, so for instance, when I started making them, you could make them for $2,000, right? Now you can't begin to make them for $5 or $6. Wow. And so then the formula for bronzes is 5 times the casting cost. So theoretically, this should, on any old school calendar, be a $30,000 piece.
Yeah.
That way the gallery can take half, if they do.
Yeah.
And then the foundry
gets their cut.
And then you take what's left over, which is never enough to fill all the work.
Tough. Tough.
Oh, it's awful out there, isn't it? It's really awful. But
the art market is over. I've never been able to crack that. I haven't tried, as I said.
No, but I haven't really tried that hard either.
Really?
Because right now people would say, oh, people would love. I said, I don't really want to make a piece for somebody in Oregon.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to go up on the internet and try to make friends with somebody I don't know where who thinks it really is a gangster.
That's a tough way to make a living.
I don't want to even try. I want to hang out here and do his talk shows.
Right.
Yeah, we're getting rich this way, right?
Well, you said we're going to have fun, which is what I feel we still have.
That's the riches I meant.
Yeah.
No, that was when he was lying.
I picked up on that. I picked up on that sense of fun in the auto salvage yard.
Oh, yeah.
In a way, and sort of your connection to your own pieces with the way that you revealed the car that you did before, which is called what?
Phaeton, Phaton, Phaeton.
And is that modeled after one of the first cars you drove?
It's just,
or no?
it's just, to me, it's a by the way, I thought of bringing that, but I thought, oh, well, it's already been exposed.
cut it in.
People are going to have to just check out your page.
It's been exposed, so I don't know.
Well, I have the little maquette very
Yeah.
close up of that.
And so does he, Dave.
And Dave.
Yeah. And such a nice guy. But also,
Right.
this feeds into what we're saying. You said a little earlier, the opening is really admired. Everybody who sees it because of your drone shots.
Good work.
Oh, wow.
You're drunk? Drone.
No, we had to fight it because
You knew I was drunk?
I think Dennis kept saying, no, I don't want drones, but he's thinking away from the sky, looking down.
But that's
and
what I would have done.
What we found, which he showed, and I said, no,
Right.
you have to follow in and get touched.
Well, that episode lent itself very well to it because of the vastness that is that salvage lot.
Right.
But generally, I mean, the thing about the drones is just that I'm like, everybody uses drones. That's all. But whatever.
Right.
Everybody
Everybody
relaxes.
uses them badly.
Right.
Badly.
That's like paintbrushes. Everybody else paints,
There you
but
go.
not everybody does it well.
The art of drones.
So, I'm bounced up and bounced up here. I don't know what's next, but I would say that we did very well with the pieces. I hope some people will go look at it. I don't mind talking a whole lot more, as you could imagine. You want to have a last two sentences? Because,
I'll say one thing, if I can reflect on that experience at the auto salvage yard, which I had hoped to gain from the experience, and I feel like I definitely did, is that I've never worked in my professional life, short as it may be, with anybody who's much more creative minded and who has an idea for something, and that's not as structured as I'm used to. My goal with you was to be able to work with someone who has an idea and a vision and take those abstract ideas and turn them into something tangible, something for that you want to see on screen. That was a huge thing I learned about the drone, is that you can do more than just a bird's eye, right? A bird's eye view and how to set up a shot and all these things, more than just the technical terms.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you were trying to teach, but you certainly did.
I just wanted to get what I needed. But the thing is this, and you came through. But
You didn't even realize you were learning it.
But the thing is that we also had to do it when the train went by.
Right.
Right. And so that there was an energy, and then that guy you got running toward the camera. So we had
Totally by accident.
that started. And then, of course, we ended up just sitting on tires and talking, which we're pretty good at too. So look, what else do we need to mention? Any of the other shows that we're not?
No.
Paula.
Well, you can if you want. You can run through.
I had a list, but oh wait, I knew I did bring it for one reason. Excuse me for that.
Okay, so he's walking over and he's picking up his
excuse me, I'm
his
walking
bag.
over here.
And he carries
This the reason why I want to say it,
backpack. Oh, here comes the book.
Was a change. This was a change of life experience. Finding
What is it?
working Studs Terkel, and
Really?
it is a whole lot of personal conversations with people in their workplace. And so in the same sense of the way he went about it, that they didn't lie. They're in talking in their working places, and it's changed my life because of truth in it. So I met him, right? He died not long ago.
So tell me, I have this wrong, but was he a talk show host?
He was his own talk show
had
in
a
Chicago, and they were like a movement of people, creative people in Chicago, this group of Nelson Algren and people like that. But anyhow, so I approached him, and this was 72 or something like that, shortly after Woodstock, by the way, which I was a cameraman on. I did a few other things.
Did you know? He's full of one-liners that it's, well, we could do an episode on that.
I know. Well,
anyway.
If I get invited, do you think I'll get invited back? That's what I want to know. But here's the thing. I got him on the phone, and I said, I want to work with you. He said, I'm coming to New York. And so I said, we'll talk about it, because I think these people would be a great interview. I'll go back and we'll find them. Yeah. We'll really do stuff like that, talking about their workplace. And so he came to New York, and I met him, and we're walking across, I think it was 24th Street, walking across, and I said, so don't you think it's possible that we could do it? And he says, Ed, you know how these people are, you know, with all the money now, you know, it's a thing. They might make a play on Broadway, and I don't know anyhow, and stuff like that. Yeah. And I said, well, what the fuck? I don't think I swore around it. I had reverence for him. I'm sure I didn't swear, but at the same time, I think I should have somehow, like, I don't know, kidnapped him. I should have really done it because they never did that movie. But I felt like in the talk shows that we do, they're authentic for me, and they care about what they say to us, you know. And so I'm happy about that.
So now I got to go look at Studs Terkel's videos to see how good his impression was. I can't remember what he's. Does he sound like that?
Listen, the point is that you're never going to know, because how are you going to do it? You want to listen to his radio shows that check me out?
Yeah, well,
you can do it, but you know what? He's very, very famous, and he only died a few years ago.
Did he really?
Yeah, and at 100 or something. And so what I wanted to do was, and I got a guy to give me the money to start, and I got him, and I said, would you be the person that talks about when they thought all the computers were going to go to hell at the end of the century? And he said, yes.
Y2K, I remember that.
Exactly, Y2K. And he said he would do it. And we're all like gearing up for it. And he calls me and says, I just can't do it. And this is the voice he had.
Really?
Yeah. No, that's fine. But the point is that he was so terrific a man in his work and how sympathetic he was to everybody that it made me feel like I should try to be that way.
Right.
And the only other person like that is Richard Selzer, who's the surgeon from New Haven, who wrote great numbers of books. He was the first surgeon to talk as a man instead of as a god, you know. And he was criticized and drummed out of a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, I haven't heard of him.
He coughed it up. So there are a few people that have
Richard
Selzer. But the last person which I have to mention is my good friend, almost lifelong friend, Martin Chirino, who's a Spanish sculptor. And you know, if you don't have a few people you genuinely admire, it's hard to relax.
That's good.
You just say,
It's good advice.
yeah, I'm friends with so-and-so. I'll be okay.
Fantastic.
So I'm friends here, and thank you for that. This has been a very welcoming community.
Yeah, it's, well,
You're welcome.
I mean,
No, I mean that.
it's a great community.
Yeah, and I even like my apartment 2 or 3 years later. I could give a few little odds and ends, but why? My feeling is,
please do.
No, my feeling is that this talk show really is an act of faith and an act of trust.
I agree.
I agree. So let's see how we do.
Let's see how we do.
I have one last thing.
Okay,
one last thing.
She has one last thing.
We forgot.
What do you think?
Okay. Just in case it wasn't
joke?
sufficiently authentic. Right, because the thing is, you could try a hat, because that's
I
what.
heard you became a hat guy because of this.
Which one is mine?
This is
Really? They're assigned?
No, it's smaller because his hair is so big. He's likely not to get up. Yeah, that's good, because I have been. It's great, because the thing is that I can't go anywhere without wearing my hat, partly because of this talk show.
Right.
Right.
I'm feeling the same thing as.
Well, this.
I have a feeling we
You
look
should
like.
squeeze it up off your ears, really. You know that.
I don't look like him.
We look like Russian bakers.
You do look like trouble. Okay.
You have a nice.
Yeah, I do.
My head is way too...
I blouse it. Okay.
Like Russian what?
Russian bakers.
Yeah, you're better now. You're better now. Okay.
It just felt right.
Let me help you out on that. Okay. Because
I know I'm supposed to wear it the right way.
But no, you're supposed to just be attractive. Forget about the right one.
Okay, well, I want to be a.
But I know you do. You do like, wait, that didn't do it. Hold it. It's just a second. But the thing is that the reason why I started to wear it is I said, who wants to watch?
A little bit of a.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. Here's the thing. I said, who wants to watch two old bald guys? So that I said, I got to wear a hat. That's how it started.
You, young guy with the curls.
Oh, that's better too. See, he has a sense. Okay, now you guys, you know what?
We're both generals in the Russian.
Now I need
young generals.
You can turn off the cameras, but I'm going to take a still on this.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. You want to do it while it's running?
Sure.
All right, here we go.
But you take a still. Oh, duh. An iPhone.
Oh, yeah, he wants to do a...
Well, what?
It's going on your Instagram page, right?
Oh, great hell knows.
Where can we find you on Instagram?
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how they
all the way
how
at the
they
bottom.
steal shit. Okay. This,
Ed, you need an Instagram account.
yeah, I know I do. Okay.
That's the last domino to fall.